Alright, guys, so I want to talk about Kodak. Kodak Black's statements toward Lauryn Hill because of her grieving right now during Nipsey Hussle's death. Now, Nipsey Hussle's 33, I'm 29, I got one more year before I turn 30. So, me and Nipsey, we come from the same era, the same decade, and the same set of rules where there was once leadership in the streets. And I know I did a video maybe a couple of times explaining about certain ways of how certain people act from down south, from where I'm at, from the East Coast, compared to on the West Coast, where it's divided. And when something happens, then you want to come together. And for some reason, that just seems to be how we are as black people in the black community. We should try to always be together, not just be together during something that happens, not just want to be fans and supporters when it's accurate when something happens. So I wanted to talk about all sides of different things during this. Now, I've done a video already explaining the real reason of Nipsey Hussle's death. Yeah, he kept his business in the streets too much. And I'm going to be touching on that a bit too. So the first thing that I want to start with is Kodak Black's statements that he made. So, yeah, there's like this street thing. Maybe it's a rule, maybe it's a code, but both sides of the South Coast, West Coast, East Coast all makes those same statements. Them statements been around for many years. From what I can count as being a street cat, goes around since the 60s, maybe the 70s at the most till now. Yeah, when someone dies that maybe popular but not so much popular, loved but not all the way loved until they died, and you see a woman that is fine, yeah, you gonna want to slip right in there. Now, I'm not gonna say what I mean by that, but you guys know what I mean. So you're gonna have a lot of people really waiting for somebody to go away so they can slide right on in. It doesn't matter if it's in death or if incarcerated. You got people that are going to do that. You got people that are going to do that. Now, it depends on how strong that woman is. If she's weak, then she's going to fall for that. But if she's strong, she ain't, and she's going to remain loyal until the person that passed away is going to send her a message beyond death in some way saying, hey, it's okay to move on, but just pick the right person. Because a lot of these are going to want to gain recognition, and clout off one's name. You see what I'm saying? So that's always been around. Now, a good majority of the people making them statements that, oh, what he's saying isn't right. Now, do I agree that what he's saying is right? No, it's not right. But you got people like Mayweather. You got people like T.I. Those that made them statements saying, you need to watch yourself and get out of pocket. I guarantee you, they the ones that made them same statements before in the past. Now, T.I., now he may talk a good game, but he ain't all changed himself either. He all really talking a lot of game, and that's just how it is. So I guarantee you, T.I.'s been fucking up. So he a hypocrite with that. And I'm calling it out just what it is, based on how we all down south. You got people like, also 50 Cent that made them kind of statements. People like Eazy-E, the Snoop Dogg. Even those like Run DMC. They made them type of statements before. When they older, they still kind of make them same statements, but I guess over time, yeah, you can evolve, you can change, and you can grow, and you can mature, and you may not be the same person. But you just can't sit there and say, oh, well, I never made them statements before, and you have. Shit, I made a fucking statements before like that. I'm man enough to admit it. Now, Kodak, on the other hand, and this is where we about to go into the down south area. Yeah, we are very hypocritical. We don't really care what we say. Yeah, we are lost because we don't have any leadership down here. We don't. A good majority is just talk a lot of shit. Yeah, we talk a good game, but in reality, we ain't about really what we say. If anything, we all crackheads. We are crack babies. We grow up down here south uneducated. Kodak Black came down here down south uneducated. I want to move this camera out the way while I'm doing this video because it is starting to rain a bit. Alright. Alright. So, we do this type of things to ourselves down here. But I want to make sure you guys can see me. Alright, so, we refuse to be educated and to be knowledge about a lot of things down here in the South because we don't want to we want to play blind to it. We want to play blind to that stuff. Okay, we want to hang around the people we grew up with and still stay around the same people that done shit, but we got in trouble for why they didn't. And that is something that is fucking us up as a culture down here. Not even as a culture, because we ain't a culture. And I explained what a culture is before on this channel. I explained that. We ain't nowhere near culture. We have no leadership. We ain't even a community. And because of that, we do stab each other in the back down here. We throw underneath each other the bus. If somebody's getting money, we want you out the picture so we can get some money or get into the picture with your girl. That's just how we are. Again, we don't know any better. We don't have leadership. But what we do, we blow our money on a lot of things that we just don't need. A good majority of us, yeah, we do neglect our kids down here. We pass them on to somebody else. Yeah, we're going to want to spend it on drugs. That's why our kids grow up to be like Kodak Black. Crack babies. Now me, I live down south, but I'm originally from the West Coast, from Montana. But I have New York in me because I grew up in a time where there was leadership, but a good majority of that leadership did fail along the way and still doing a lot of the hypocritical things, especially down here in the South. So, with that part being said, if you have a crew, somebody's supposed to have the decency enough to say, hey man, maybe you shouldn't say those things, and kind of stay away from that. What's getting Kodak Black in trouble, it's his mouth. It's him, it's his mouth. Then he has to record every single fucking damn thing that he's doing. There's the people around him as well, still hanging around the same people that got him and himself in trouble and locked up many times before. And to the point, when one's locked up down here south, yeah, most of the war is going to run on mouth. Kodak been known to run his mouth while he was incarcerated. There's a good majority of the chance that he is going to go back. Going to go back. And the reason why he just didn't stay for a long time is that mouth. And he ran that mouth, he tells. Kodak Black. Kodak Black's a teller, alright? I don't care. He's going to tell. I know people like Kodak. I grew up around people like Kodak. And let me tell you something, man. They ain't no fucking good. They ain't no damn good. A good majority of them got some people that I know who were good, killed, locked up, lost everything they had. And ended up falling back right on them 10 times fold to where shit came back and bit them in the ass. So yeah, people like Kodak, man, you just gotta steer away from. Alright, now his mother's an immigrant. Mother looked like she'd been doing a lot of drugs. Down here in the South, it's easy to get your hands on drugs. Very fucking easy. Kodak grew up a crack baby. So he ain't all there either. His brain cells is damaged from that. Than him doing it himself. He really wasn't out here banging. He wasn't out here being gangster. He wasn't out here popping guns. Because a good majority is down here in the South, we pump fake. We dick ride. That's how we are. And I explained this before and I'll explain it again. That's just how we are down south. And when somebody dies, we only want to be supporters and fans when it's accurate so we can dick ride, sponge off and try to get some money from you so we can go blow it on some shit that we ain't going to need rather than putting money towards rent, food, and our children. I grew up in that type of environment, in that shit around it. Ain't nothing good comes from it. Like I said, I'm 29, so I had to grow from it. But at least my time, there was leadership. There were people speaking, saying, really wasn't that much leadership down here in the South. Maybe very little. But because there's so very little, we ended up turning on those leaders, man. We ended up saying, we don't want to hear what you have to say. Let's get rid of you. during the majority of that, we are probably one of the most. And one thing that's been going around is a lot of pedophilia, a lot of rape. We are one of the most pedophilia places in the South, and here in America, in the South Coast, because a good majority of us that are parents, we are okay with an older person dating our younger daughter, very young, at least middle school, high school age young, right? And some of these comments that I have seen before, and I want to point out some videos. This is how blind and stupid we want to be to the fact down here in the South that goes into Kodak actually being guilty of rape charges. Alright? So here's some examples. Pay attention to what I'm about to tell you guys. So one point of it is this. Alright? We a lot of older men, a lot of young women attracted to older men. We have kids of our own. And as men, we're too comfortable with bashing and downing women down here in the South. Because to us, they are hoes. They thugs. As far as I'm concerned, you guilty of already being a hoe and fucking around. Now, we going to be attracted to a girl a bit younger than us. So we going to want to get with her. We don't want to get with somebody our age and a bit up. No. So there was one video, right? If you take a look at Birdman, he had a 17-year-old, 16-year-old rapper from Memphis dancing in his boxers in the studio. We champion the music, and the music sounds like shit. Music sounds like shit. But we want to play blind to that fact that this is a 50-year-old man still has somebody that's underage, half naked, dancing for him. But when it comes to somebody that's actually being molested, and there was another video of this girl, she had the decency and the courage enough and bravery to go to her mother saying, hey, your boyfriend raping me, and the mother didn't believe the daughter, so she blamed the daughter, called the cops on the daughter, and wanted to fight the daughter, all because she had the courage enough to stand up for herself, and the mother threw her underneath the bus. And with that going on down here in the South, what that means the boyfriend is beating the mother behind closed doors and giving her money to shut up. That's what that means. I've seen it all too many times before. My mother's been through it. I've been known to actually be abusive towards women, but not put my hands towards them. If anything, it was verbal abuse. So yeah, I am guilty of abuse, but nothing physical, because I didn't have the decency enough to do that. Because a good majority of them probably would fight back anyways, like they should. They have the right to. So in order for them to kind of shut the hell up, I'm going to give them money. So a good majority of abuse goes with money, saying, okay, shut the fuck up. I'm going to give you money, but if you don't shut up as I'm giving you money, I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to use something against you before I kill you. And that's how we are down here in the South. I can't explain to you how many relationships down here in the South that there is like that, especially underage relationships and them being pregnant. Just like R. Kelly. R. Kelly, yeah, he is guilty. And that's one thing about the South that we want to play stupid and blind to, that just make us hypocrites. And yeah, T.I., he's one of them. He's a fucking blind hypocrite. We know that. But as long as he puts out good music, we gonna let the shit slide, because that's just how we are down here in the South. Now, we pretend not to want to believe things that we see that are actually a hard physical evidence of a crime that has been committed, and we want to hold somebody and champion so much that we actually want to down the victims, even though the evidence right there in our face, and we want to play blind to it. And that is sad, and it's a good majority of us as the black man down here. And then you have the Michael Jackson thing where, yes, he's been proven innocent, but because he's innocent, we want to point him as guilty. But when you have fake victims, we want to hold them to a high standard. And that's one thing that we do down here that we just need to stop doing as well, but we don't, because we don't have leadership, and we don't know really right from wrong. So because of that, which goes right into Kodak Black, when we are given, we're gonna do fuck shit like that that's gonna get us caught up, especially about the Ebro thing. And I explained that before in a video called "We Need to Stop Championing the Dumb Shit." Ebro from the East Coast. East Coast has leadership. They still have leadership up there. There's a reason why the people from the East Coast in New York, all throughout New York and them different cities, do good. It don't matter if they rich or famous. There's a reason why they do good, because they got leaders in the streets versus leaders that are famous that do take precaution when they go somewhere. Even though, yeah, a good majority of them do keep their business in the streets, that does come back around to eventually get them, and that's been known to happen. But as long as them leaders in the streets, the people are going to be good. But a good majority of the famous people, they're going to learn, like, hey, man, the hood ain't always going to have love for you, so they originally left. Now, I'm going to explain that right there. See, off camera, you don't know what's all being said and what's done. The camera guy had the decency enough to keep the footage going while they weren't talking on the air. Kodak kept wanting to talk about the court case and the jail documentations. Ebro didn't want that, because if somebody talks about that, you can get fined. That's a radio fine. Ebro didn't want that, so he kept telling Kodak, look, man, just don't talk about it. Look, no, stop mentioning it. And he had to get on to him. So Ebro had to show his leadership, but Kodak did not want to listen because he's from down south. And because of that, Kodak was getting knowledge handed to him because he was in the wrong, and he knew he was in the wrong. That's why he got upset and left. Not only that, Ebro spoke on his side of the story, because him and Nadeska have a radio broadcast that they do together outside of Complex, that they have a partnership deal with Apple with. So y'all didn't know that. Y'all didn't know that. See, it gets worse as it goes along. Because of no leadership, Kodak said he was going to go to the projects today. Nipsey Hussle got killed. Then the judge specifically say, hey, man, you need to stop going around those areas. You need to cut yourself people off. You see where it's getting you, because Kodak don't listen. And I can explain a lot about a lot of people who a lot of us listen to and who champion so much down here in the South, and really expose some shit, to say some shit, to say that they ain't really about that. You know, if you guys go back and listen to the two of the self-defense videos I made, I explain why Boosie stays up in New York, why he can't come back down here to the South. And you know what, I'll explain it in this one too, just to give you guys a real idea of how crooked and two-faced we are down here in the South, man. Alright? Boosie fell behind on child support. He didn't care about his children. He kept staying around the hood too much, kept his business in the streets. When he got locked up for child support, and then with drug bust with illegal gun charge, he went away to do a bit of time. He didn't stay gone there long. He ran him out. However, Little Pat was on the come up. Boosie got jealous of Pat's fame. Boosie got Pat killed. Boosie tried to fame Pat's father. He didn't do that because it was proven right there on the spot, and things were getting ready to be backed up. They hit him with murder. He got caught guilty of killing one of his own people. On top of that, he disrespected a lot of the gangs down here, which was necessarily the Bloods from Baton Rouge to Nashville, Tennessee. Now, the ones I know from Baton Rouge were connected to a lot more who I really know and associate myself with and talk to people in Huntsville, Louisiana, that comes up here to Tennessee. Boosie ripped off a lot of people's money and stole a lot, disrespected, and then tried to get people framed up, and a good majority of people did get hurt along the way and got killed because of Boosie. When that shit came back and hit him, especially in court, he got scared, he ran his mouth. That's why he did less time. Same thing with Webby. Webby fell into the drugs heavy. He always been a crackhead. But because he was affiliated with Boosie, they had to leave out of the South and go up to New York. That's why they always post. So Boosie's a real fucking hypocrite and a straight rat himself, and says a lot of shit. You see what I'm saying? That's how crooked we are down here in the South. This is how we are. I don't care. I'm really telling you how it is. So because of all that, is why Kodak has no guidance. And a lot of the hypocrites try to check him. Kodak don't care. That's all it is too. From there, the West Coast, they don't got leaders, man. They turned on their leaders a long time ago. Very long time ago. They only got rules that kind of divide an area of a block. You see? Now I know a lot of people say, oh, well, the gangs are coming together ever since the killing of Nipsey Hussle. I don't care about that, because that ain't gonna mean nothing at the end of the day. If you go back throughout history before this, they've been doing that several times. But you know what? They never kept that word. They never kept that bond, because then they decided to break it off once things came down and go back to the same bullshit and have people still divided. Daylight spoke on that because he from the West Coast. He sings it. Even he said, look, that whole come together thing after something happens, that don't matter, because it's going to go right back to being divided and not having leadership like we should. And when somebody wants to do something for a block and really grow beyond that, we like to get them killed because we don't want to see it. You see what I'm saying? Because the Black Panthers, yeah, they broke up, but you had two of them that went from North and South California. One started the Crips, one started the Bloods. A good majority that will see this don't even know what Crip and Blood means. Don't even know how it even originated and what it really stood for. Crip means community providers. So if you come around here fucking with somebody on this neighborhood and harass them, we're going to come together and we're going to make progress. Plus, we're going to help one another as well. Same thing with Bloods. We all stand together. We all family. We all fight together. You come around here bothering one of us, you're going to have to deal with all of us. Also giving back. Same thing with GDs, right? The gangster disciples are known as God disciples, which it once was. The original leader, it started down here in the South, and then it ended up on the West Coast. Yeah, he was gay, but you know what? He believed in leadership. He believed in religion, believed in giving back. But once drugs and money and then violence started coming into play, that's when it really broke off of what it all really meant for. And then they decided to turn on the leaders and said, you know what, you guys are on this peaceful shit. We don't want that. We want what's out here with the money and these drugs, and start packing. And that's what really fucked it up. And because of that, it's why so many streets are divided. Guys getting muggy out here, shit. It's why so many of the streets are now divided. But when something happens, like you had the beating of, I can't think of dude's name, but he was beat by the cops in the early 90s. Yeah, then you wanted the people to come together. Alright, the ones that settled down, they went back to doing the same bullshit. And then you had the LA riots, and then once people wanted to come together again after everything settled down, and after the death of Eazy-E, the breakup of NWA, the death of Pac and Biggie, is when everybody just wants to come together. But once shit really started dying down, people went back to the same shit. So this Nipsey Hussle with his death is going to actually be in vain, because these gangs are going to go right back to the same fucking bullshit. It never seems to fail. It never seems to fail. But as long as there's drugs and money involved, along with their violence, that's all they're really going to gravitate towards. It's the same type of shit down here in the South that I explained. And right now, everyone wants to be fans and supporters, why it's fucking accurate. And I'm going to have to agree with a lot of the comments. Now, to be honest, I never really heard of Nipsey Hussle till after his death, because I don't listen to a lot of today's music. I don't. I really don't. I come from a whole different era, different generation, just like he does. Now, yes, I do believe the brother did get founded and get started late in his life. But they know that happens. If you take a look at Dej Loaf, she my age. She come from that same era, that same decade, that same generation that had leadership. But she got started too late, and no one wants to listen to somebody going into their 30s. You see what I'm saying? So that's why they have to kind of expand beyond things. But because of his gang connection, he kept a lot of business, and he kept his business in the streets. And it is the closest ones to you that's going to do you in. You know, and I explained that before in that video, the real reason why Nipsey Hussle died. Now, to start out with the East Coast, The famous ones, yeah, they said, you know what, yeah, we can give here and there, but we ain't always gonna come through or really come through no more. We made it to a certain point. We want out because we know exactly the shit that's gonna happen, because there's only so much amount of time that you can keep coming around until they're gonna send a message to you, and that message is going to be death. But along with them still ships in those streets, from the drug dealers that do give back to give out turkeys and gifts, and even, not even really in the holidays, they're gonna want to do that stuff as much as they can possible, and make sure, okay, I see what you're trying to do, let me kind of guide you and see what it is that I can do, but you have to do the work yourself. Actually have hustlers. If you take a look at some of these Instagram pages, I forget the name of those two, and I'm gonna try to find them and link their accounts down below. They posting pictures of a lot of these famous hustlers on the East Coast, man, who weren't like famous, but they were street famous leaders, and had made a lot of money and helped others, and have guidance. That's why the East Coast to me will always stand strong, and I have that East Coast mentality because I'm originally from up north, so I have the gang mentality or the mindset when it comes to really getting in some shit. The West Coast, because I'm originally from up north, from the West, I have the hustle mentality of a Brooklyn and Queens, New Yorker, because I'm a New Yorker at heart, but I have the survival instincts of somebody down here in the South and actually being real awoke. And so because of that, yeah, a lot of people want to now be fans and supporters during somebody's death who they really didn't pay no attention to in the beginning at all. So with me breaking all this down, then now comes back around to the conclusion. Kodak Black, he don't care what no one say. The only reason why he pissed off is because some people who are older, who are hypocrites, and to my opinion, they just are. And that's, again, there are reasons why I just say even T.I.'s one. Because all that good preaching he does, he just manages to find his foot in his mouth and gets in trouble still, too. Now, he ain't been in trouble lately, but he's a hypocrite, man. And a lot of us called that out downhill. The same thing with Jeezy. Because a good majority of the shit that he was preaching about up on Breakfast Club and on Everyday Struggle, people were saying, why the fuck are you lying? So we're getting hypocrites. But Boosie's just mad. No, not Boosie. Kodak's just mad because, yeah, some older people checked his ass, and he's just mad because he got checked because of IG Live, and that's what he wants to fight over about. Now, don't get me wrong. Jeezy and T.I., yeah, they gonna back up what they say, and if they have to, they'll get down and dirty. So there is that. But Kodak's bad because he just got checked, and he's somebody, his label, Atlantic, don't give a fuck about him. Atlantic never cared about their artists, bro. That's why you see a lot of bad shit coming from Atlantic, from these artists' mouth, and why you see a lot of stuff that these artists do who are part of Atlantic. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. The only thing they care about, hey man, how much money I'm gonna make off your next hit or this next project. That's all they care about. And right now, they divided business because of Kodak Black statements. They ain't trying to guide him. If that was the case, then they would say, hey man, we're going to take up your phone. We're going to have control of your social media accounts. You need to actually stay away from these people. But because Atlanta Records is down here in Atlanta, in the South, we ain't going to give a fuck. We just going to be fucking accurate and dick ride because we're going to make money off your name. That's all. That's all. The only one to still have, the only one to me that really has their head straight, that are actually smart people that ain't going to be their mentors, ain't going to be Kodak Black mentors, is because of, Master P and Plies. They ain't got time to be wasting with that young motherfucker because he ain't want to listen. And because of that, and the way Kodak Black is, and the shit that comes out of the mouth of what he does, is going to end up getting him killed because he kept this shit in the streets too goddamn much, and it's going to come back to bite him in the ass. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make a horse drink. You can send somebody to rehab, but they ain't gonna want help. You see what I'm saying? The only way he's gonna listen is when he dies. That's it. Was Kodak Black in the wrong for that? Yeah. Yeah, he most certainly was. You know, I grew and changed along my ways. So I can say that. Now, there's some things I might be hypocritical about. And there's some things that I might still do just for fun, but don't mean I'm going to fully do them either. And then I'm going to, you know, I just divided myself. There's a lot of things I just don't like anymore. That I used to thought that were cool. And it wasn't. And I see how much of that shit got my ass in trouble. I see how much of that shit got people I know killed. I may not have the biggest platform on social media, but I have a voice and I use it, and I may get some followers, some that actually listen, that they can understand what I'm saying and get the message, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, Kodak is wrong. So I don't blame the West Coast for banning his shit because of them fucking statements that he made. I don't. And to be quite fucking real with you, how many shows have Kodak Black actually done? You can name them on one hand. How many records? I don't even want to say records. How many hit songs does he have? Now, anyone I know can name one. Can somebody name a fucking verse? Can somebody name one album or one mixtape from him? No. He don't care nothing but really about himself, man. He don't want to listen. You're a crack baby. Crack babies don't want to listen, man. He's also makes him autistic. Because of that, he's going to surround himself by people that are taking advantage of him. And they're going to wait for him to fully get out the picture when it comes to setting him up and getting him killed, so they can go ahead, come on in, so they can try to get some money and then slip into wherever his baby moms is. You know what I'm saying? Ain't like they're already probably slipping in his ex-girlfriend or baby moms right now. Because that kind of shit happens in the hood. That shit happens. Hell, I've been known to fucking do that. Real talk. But you grow from that. But Kodak, he ain't gonna grow. He's the type who is as an internet gangster, who is a sensitive ass bitch, who only wants to fight people but won't fight when his bitch ass gets fucking checked. That's the type Kodak Black is, and why we need to start championing that dumb motherfucker. And also people like Kevin Gates, who is also a soft ass bitch, who was also married to his cousin, got kids by his second cousin, and who also fucked NBA homeboy, literally. Them two got a butt buddy, bone smuggling buddy relationship, man. Because we are the biggest, gayest coast in America, which is the South Coast, which is the gay capital. Dudes ain't gonna want to build a girl down here. They gonna want to build a guy. Girls ain't gonna want to build a guy. They may have a kid by the guy, but they gonna want to be by a girl, man. That's how it goes. Kodak surrounds himself by guys. Sags in front of him. What did that go to tell y'all? I'm just saying. I know what it is. What do you know? The viewer knows. I know this video might seem long. I need to put my glasses back on. This how long this video going for. Alright. A good 33 minutes. That's good. So I'm out of here. I hope you guys really understand. And again, the things I broke down, that all goes back into Kodak being who he is. Don't expect any more else to come from this guy. I don't expect him to do great shit. He's a hypocrite.